I remember when we used to sit in a government yard in Trench Town. Oh yeah, observing all those hypocrites mingling with the good people that we meet. No woman, no cry, yeah. No woman, no cry. Hi, I'm Otway Ross. Welcome to another guitar lesson. In this lesson, I'll teach you the C major chord. There it is. And you play the first 5 strings, strings 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. The notes are C, E, G, C, and E. And you can see I've marked out exactly where you need to put your fingers, which is on strings 2, 4, and 5, frets 1, 2, and 3. So the standard fingering is using fingers 1, 2, and 3. So put your first finger on the second string at the first fret, put your second finger on the 4th string at the 2nd fret, and put your third finger on the 5th string at the 3rd fret. Thumb should be the usual position of the joint of the thumb in the middle of the back of the neck. Your elbow nice and loose, about 3 to 4 inches out from your body. Okay, now notice the angle of my fingers. Because of the width of the first 3 frets, towards the nut the frets are quite wide, I have to rotate my fingers a little bit towards, pointing towards me I guess, pointing towards the bridge. So rotate your wrist a little bit and that will give you an advantage in terms of reach. Okay. Now I'm using the tips of my fingers. See the lines from the strings in the tips of my fingers, the very tips of my fingers. The C chord being, it's a little bit more difficult because of the stretch, but you have to use the tips of your fingers to not mute any of the other strings that are next to your fingers. Then the other thing is try to make the first segment of your fingers stick straight out, so perpendicular to the fretboard. And you play, as I said, the first 5 strings. Now, when you're looking, if there are any buzzers or muting, start looking at the strings that you're fretting. So strings 2, 4, and 5. Make sure that those strings are playing well. If you get any buzzing like this, that could mean that you're too far back in the fret. So move forward. If you're getting any muting, that could mean that you're too far over the fret. So move back. Okay? Now, you can move the whole chord forward and backwards a fair bit. These frets are quite wide at this point of the neck. So make sure you're 2/3 of the way along. Right about where I've put the dots here. So 2/3 of the way along the fret. Okay? Now if you're getting any of the strings which are not fretted, like strings 3 and 1, if those are muting, or if string 4 is muted, like that, that's probably because your wrist is too far back. So again, try and make your fingers, use the tips of your fingers and make the first joint stick straight out from the neck. Your fingers should have a nice rounded section. The first joint should be around about 90 degrees, possibly a little bit less. But if you follow those instructions, move it around, don't push and squeeze too tight, move it and keep it nice and loose, and just be flexible with your wrist. Not too far back, not too far forward. And you should get there. Now there is an alternative to play all 6 strings, and that involves putting your 3rd finger on the 6th string at the 3rd fret, and then your 4th finger on where your 3rd finger was, so that's the 5th string at the 3rd fret. And that puts a G on the bottom. So you can play it like that, which is a standard way to play it, or you can play it with a G added. Okay? Now the other alternative that you've got is to play using fingers 2, 3, and 4. And that's kind of handy, because firstly it gives a nice workout for your little finger, but it's also useful for playing the C chord up the neck. Okay, so practice that one as well. Hope you enjoyed the lesson. For information, the chords that I was playing before are C, G, A minor, and F. C, G, A minor, and F. So look out for those chords in other lessons if you want to play No Woman, No Cry by Bob Marley. Thanks for watching. I'm Otway Ross, and I look forward to seeing you in the next lesson.